Hi, my name is Johnny.
And my name is Jordan,
Welcome to Power Your Story.
a podcast produced by high school students in Chicago with the support of After School Matters and the Creative Imposter Studios.
Thanks for enjoying us. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Power Your Story podcast. My name is Emilio. I am here with Itzet, Jayden, Daniel, Essence, Uriel, and Jonas. Today we are talking with Lisa Orkin, podcast producer, writer, and author. I pass the mic to Itzel.
How was your day so far?
My day has been very busy so far. I work on a news podcast as well, and it's a very big news day.
That's good. How was the weather?
It's rainy in LA today. We rarely have rainy days, but this is a unusual. Yesterday and today was an unusually rainy 2 days, but we need the rain, so it's good.
Do you like living in California?
I do like living in California. I lived here most of my life, but I lived in Chicago for a while too as a kid. But I would say that I like Los Angeles' weather better. Much.
Nice. Jayden.
My first question is, when do you start podcasting?
I started podcasting, I think about 10 years ago. I worked in radio, so it was kind of an easy transition to podcasting. That's when I started, and I started with a tiny little podcast. I didn't even understand how to put it out into the world, and it was 3 minutes long, and I made like 10 of them, and I thought, there, I did it. But since then, I've probably done 20 different podcasts or more at this point, just producing and editing. And so that's when I started, about 10 years ago.
Okay, my second question is, how did you decide to focus on podcasting in your career?
Well, I worked in radio and made radio commercials, and the radio commercials weren't doing as well. But I also liked the idea that with podcasting, I could tell much bigger stories, and they weren't always about selling something. And so I started focusing on podcasting because I thought that was a better direction for what it is I do.
How do you know our program director, Miss Quenda?
Well, we were on a panel together at a podcast convention or festival about voiceover, because that's what we both do. And that's how we met. And we were just we're in a nice group of like really wonderful women podcasters. And that's how we met a while ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe longer.
Thank you. I'm going to pass the mic to Daniel.
Tell me about your podcast, Toddlers Woo Woo.
I always wanted to have an interview show, but the people I wanted to interview, a lot of them weren't alive or they would never work with me. And I had worked in stand-up comedy and improv for a very long time in my life. So I knew hundreds of really amazing comedic actors. And so I asked them, if they would want to just pretend to be characters that I could interview. So that was how it all started.
I have a question for the students. Student producers, if you could interview anybody on our show who is either super famous or somebody who's not even alive anymore, like they're from history or they passed away or something, who would you interview? Uriel.
Johnny Cash.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I don't think you've had Johnny Cash on your show, Lisa, have you?
No, I haven't. In my head, I was like, who could be Johnny Cash? I'll have to think about that.
Jonas, who do you think?
Let's see. I will say Johnny Depp from Pirates of the Caribbean, or Sylvester Stallone from Rambo, or anyone else like a celebrity.
Cool. Essence, who would you interview? Patrick Kane?
Oh my God. I hope I wish.
Patrick Kane from the Chicago Blackhawks, but he's not on the Chicago Blackhawks anymore, is he?
Yeah, he's in New York with the Rangers.
With the Rangers.
Yes, I'm mad. I was so mad right now.
How I meet actor to be a soul.
Well, a lot of them I've worked with many times doing either voiceover or storytelling shows. I do a lot of storytelling shows in Los Angeles where we all tell stories. And some I've met on auditions, and I've been here in acting for over 30 years. So I've just met a lot of people along the way.
Who is favorite guy?
Thanks, Daniel. Well, my favorite guest, that's
You're
so hard
welcome.
to pick. I don't know if I can actually pick a favorite guest. There was so many good guests. I think the Queen of England may have been one of my favorite guests. I think she was really funny and I really liked the Queen of England.
You mean Queen Elizabeth the
Yes.
second?
Yeah, exactly. Who had the doggies.
Mike to essay.
Okay, my question is, Lisa, how do you come up with the funny jokes?
Well, I think life is really funny. I think that if you don't take it all too seriously, there's all kinds of funny everywhere you look, especially in your own self. There's always funny everywhere you look. And I think I just somehow trained myself to just find humor in situations. Or if something's funny, I sort of stick it in the back of my brain somewhere and I just hold it there until I have a situation that I'm maybe writing or creating. And that's basically how I come up with funny jokes.
What is the craziest thing that happened to you while making the show?
Once we had an earthquake, and that was pretty crazy. We had to sort of stop for a little while and make sure everything was okay.
Oh my God. I like the earthquake. Okay. How is the podcast going for you right now? Are you doing good?
I am doing really good. I'm actually working on my scripted podcast, but I work in podcasting, so I'm working on it. So it's going really good. I'm just doing I have a lot of work going on, and I'm super grateful for that.
Will you making any more episodes for Project Woo Woo in the future?
Yes, I will. We've been on a break since COVID because I like to do it live in studio. So now that we can sort of go back into studio, I think that, we're going to come back and do another 100 episodes. That's what we did the first time.
Oh, Lisa, I've been following you on your podcast. I can pass to Jonas.
Okay, my question is, we heard you're working on movies too. Can you tell us about them?
Sure. So I worked on a few movies with a director called Shira Piven, whose family owns the Piven Theater, which is there in Chicago, actually. And I think it's in Evanston. We did a movie together called Fully Loaded. I think it's on Amazon. And then I did a movie called Welcome to Me, which is with, I forget what her name is, from Saturday Night Live. Totally, her name just slipped my head. Kristen Wiig. Yes, I played her mother. And then I've done lots of TV shows. So like Keenan and Kel, which I don't think is on anymore, but the reruns are because they still get money. And I worked on a show called Sybil and a show called Becker, lots of different TV shows, usually doing comedy. Like I'm always the funny person.
I'll be interested to see those. What is one of your best memories since you started making podcasts?
I think one of my best memories is when I have a bunch of my friends in the studio and we are making my show Lisa Upside Down. And like just this last weekend, we did an episode and I just love that when I can play with all my friends in the studio. That's my favorite thing in the whole world.
Okay. Why is it important to you have humor in your life?
Well, life can be really hard and people can be mean. And I think if you can have a sense of humor, it really helps you get through this weird thing they call life. It just helps you deal with life better. For me, it does. If I can see the funny.
Okay. How can someone learn to be funny?
I think they probably already are. And so when you find the things that make you laugh, find more of those. Go, oh, that makes me laugh. I'm gonna find more of those. And I think being able to laugh at yourself is a really good way of learning how to be funny. Not being afraid to fail, not being afraid to embarrass yourself, just being exactly who you are.
I agree. It's like a making decision, and a director or you need to find an idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll pass it to Uriel.
What is your favorite color?
I think my favorite color is red.
Do you have any pets?
I have a pet named Violet. She's a cat. She has no tail. She was born with no tail. And so she's very special. And right now she's sleeping somewhere in the house. I have no idea where.
Oh. Do you teach, and what do you teach?
I sometimes teach podcasting and I teach yoga.
Oh, yoga? Oh, okay. What year did you start podcasting, Lisa?
Probably 2009, maybe.
Oh, 2009?
Yeah, I think so.
Now they're going to try to figure out how old you are. That's the next part.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'm 60. That's how old I am.
Now I'm going to pass the mic to Emilio.
Let's open it up to our producers for more questions.
Okay, my question is, do you ever never watch popular movies like this one called Pirates of the Caribbean or Jurassic Park?
I have seen those movies. Not in a long, long time, but I saw them.
But you should invite these characters like Sam O'Neill from Jurassic Park. You can invite him as a guest.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And your second guest is Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah, I could totally have Johnny Depp on.
That's actually a good question. Do the actors choose who they want to be, or do you ask them to be certain people?
It's a little of both. Like sometimes they have no idea who they'd want to be. I'll get the actor first, and then I'll give them a bunch of ideas. I have like a list that I give them that are people that I haven't had on the show yet, but then I say, it's all open to you. So like, for instance, we had Marcel Marceau on, and that's a mime who doesn't talk. So I had to translate it, and that was the actor's idea. So I had to do double work on
that. Sounds like a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, but it was fun, but a lot of work. Yeah.
Lisa, do you do with these actors in podcasts?
Oh, that's a good question. So when we do Project Woo Woo, we improvise the whole thing. So there's no script or anything. I do all my research and find out, like, if it's President Lincoln that I was having on the show, I'll do all my research and figure out all my questions ahead of time. And then I'll make more questions than I need. And then it just sort of takes off wherever.
Do you pick all the clothes, Lisa?
Well, there's no clothes because, you know, it's audio, so we don't have to worry about clothes, which is great. Although I had Ben Franklin on, and he weirdly came in costume. Yeah, he came looking like that with the shirt and the jacket and all that. He was already kind of bald, and he just dressed up just like Ben Franklin. He was great, but I was a little scared.
Yeah, with makeup too?
No, he didn't have any makeup on. He didn't really need it. He kind of just looked like him. And then I also had this woman, Danielle Laporte, on, and she also came in costume. So who played Danielle Laporte? So yeah, so two actors just chose to come in costume.
Oh.
So maybe you could add one of these from a book I put. You could add Monarch known as Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, Godzilla would be fun to have on. Or King
And Kong.
Kong. Yeah. They would be very fun to have on.
Two mightiest titans from the earth. Battle all the ages.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? What's your question about these monsters?
Well, I just wonder if they actually talk, or they just make like sounds all the time. So I don't know how good a conversation would be with them, since they just roar. So I don't know. Yeah. You know, language is important on a podcast.
Do you have a favorite movie or sport you play?
You know what? Right now, my favorite movie is Everything Everywhere All at Once. My favorite movie changes all the time because I'm fickle, and I like to hike. I hike a lot, and I like to shoot basketball hoops. Those are my two sort of sporty things, besides yoga, which I consider a sport.
What does this one movie do? I never heard of this.
It's a new movie, and it's about a woman who becomes a superhero.
Didn't it just win Best Picture at the Oscars?
It did, and she won Best Actor.
Did you met LeBron James?
I've never met LeBron James. No. I have met other basketball players, but I could never remember their names because I'm just not good with that stuff.
How would the LA look back in the day?
Back in the day, well, when I think it looked exactly the same. I think it always looks the same. It's usually always sunny with palm trees. and not a lot of grass.
Lisa, do you have any questions for us?
Are you all having a good day? Is it a good day? We sort of discussed that, but
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Yes.
oh yes, Miss Lisa, yes.
Yes.
thank you. I love hearing all your voices. That's great.
Is there's anything else you would like to share with us today?
I don't think so. I think you guys covered it all. I really appreciate all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for beginning on Power Your Story podcast. We will share links to your website and podcast and our show notes.
Thank you very much. I really had fun.
Power Your Story podcast is produced by high school students in Chicago at the Creative Imposter Studios.
with the support of After School Matters.
Listen to more Power Your Story in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite listening app.
If you loved what you heard, you can write a review in Apple Podcasts or share this episode with friends and family.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Power Your Story Podcast.
Get links and learn more in the show notes at poweryourstorypodcast.com.
Thank you for listening.
Have a beautiful day.